Hey traders, Mike Katz, 7 points, and the SPYs today got a little pullback. Now we're bouncing off of there, but we did have a little bit of a sell-off, which was pretty nice, and then we'll see how long that lasts. But definitely still holding above this level, right? This 276, which is going to be important, and then this is the other level. So right now we're in this range, and if we do get through 276, I do think that 273 becomes important. But right now we're still in an uptrend, higher high, higher low. Got that little pullback here. And it's just a matter, I think, of whether or not the shorts gave up. It felt like maybe they did in the morning. Then, let's see, kind of finishing off the lows, but there was some follow through. At least midday, we did get a nice little sell off. But my main focus today, we had a couple of stocks that we were in. Early on, I stayed away from ZSAN. I'll go over why. But I was also in CAR. CAR was pretty good. And this one was my earnings after hours setup. And if we could just look at that, maybe that way. Yeah, so this thing takes off here in after hours and basically holds really well. And then in the morning in pre-market today, we get above this level. And then I look to buy a dip back to this after hours consolidation area because that should be support now. And that's basically what I did there. So bought a dip, versing the bottom of this consolidation, and then just sold some, bought it back, sold some, and sold some, and it just lost momentum. I had higher hopes for this, but it was still decent. Was able to trade this $35 stock pretty well. So this was nice. And then the other one was ZSAN. So let's go over ZSAN real quick because I do think that a lot of people were probably in this name quite a bit. And probably not the easiest name, I think. So looking at this today, they had some positive news. Former runner, ETIG upgrades it to $19, which is not new news. They've done that before. They dropped that before. So they just rehashed it. But there was a buyer. There was obviously some accumulation. There was a strong buyer on the tape. You call it you want. Call it manipulation. Call it control. You know, and when shorts are stuck, they call it manipulation. But there was definitely a buyer, and it was really strong. So I was able to stay away from this all day, pretty much all morning until like around noontime. And I'll go over what I was seeing here. By no means was this an easy trade, but let's just go ahead. Last time I did this, seemed like people were really digging the fact that I was going through the symbol bar by bar. So I'll do that again and try to get this done here. So looking at this here, we're pretty much zoomed into the morning, acting well. I don't see any weakness here. You know, you have the morning volatility, wicks both ways, but it's still holding well above VWAP, above this low here, and there's really no reason to sell this. So it goes high, it comes back, makes a higher high. Maybe here you could say, oh yeah, it's failing, but you know, I failed at the highs, but I didn't do anything here. I wanted to see a lower low. I wanted to see a reason to sell this. And let's see, wow, could look what's going on here in after hours. Maybe they dropped an offering or something, I'm not sure, but it looks like it's selling off pretty hard in after hours. All right, back to this. This level is significant now, right? We pull back and 295, 285, what is this level? Right around here, these highs, that becomes significant. So we can fast forward a little bit. We get right through that and hold above. It wasn't just a FU move and right back down. We hold above and we head higher. So to me, now this was resistance, now support. Just try to keep it simple and just see what it wants to do. So goes higher again, and the second pauses for a couple of bars. It's really just, it takes out again. and comes back to retest this level, which was a high. And then again, just hold support where it's supposed to. The pullbacks are just a healthy trend, healthy pullback, and I don't see a reason to short this yet. And again, so now it comes back up here. It does put in a wick, but still doesn't look like it's able to get down there and break that, what is that, 320 level, where, you know, this is now support. You guys can see that there. Bounces off and now comes back to test this resistance. It's above it pretty easily, and I'm going to come back and test the support again. So I'll go a little bit quicker, but you guys get the idea. Every time it goes higher, it's able to break resistance and not really come back down. I don't see any weakness, just consolidation, small pullbacks, and no reason to sell anything here. And then it just keeps doing that, higher high, higher low. And right around here, it starts to, now this resistance, it breaks above, and it couldn't hold above it right here. So for me, this is a first red flag that this might be getting tired. Okay, so right around here, it gets up there and it can't hold that support, which it's been doing every time before. And now it's starting to get interesting. So now I'm going to come back up and test that resistance, and seems to get right through it. Seems to get right through it. And bam. Now, this resistance it can't really get through. This becomes a pretty big volume bar, topping tail at $5, which is, you know, dollar figure, kind of important. And then I want to go back to this 5-minute bar that I was looking at the time. And this one here, you guys could see huge doji and really big volume, bigger than this green bar, bigger than average. To me, that's a pause right there. Topping tail of doji on volume, that's an anomaly. That tells me a seller stepped in here. So now I'm starting to get interested. I'm starting to get interested because it's not really breaking out yet like it was before. And now I'm getting involved here. So I put them on here at 5, risking off of these highs here. And at this point, I'm just recycling. I'm starting to trade a piece of my position just to get a feel for what it wants to do. So the 2 reasons why I'm trading a piece of my position. I'm looking to make some cash flow and recycle shares to kind of make a couple of bucks if it's going to just go sideways or come down and give me a chance to cover and reshort at higher prices. I don't do it with my whole position because I don't know that I'll be able to get back in. And then the other reason I do it is because it gives me reference points. It gives me points on the chart to get a feel for what the stock wants to do as opposed to what I think is going to happen. So if I'm, you know, selling and buying and selling and buying, let's say I cover here and then it just goes straight down. That's information that I can't reshort. And then if it just goes sideways and then allows me to kind of sell, buy like I did here, and then starts to head higher, that's information that this thing is not weak. It's above my executions. It's above all my reference points, and I can't fight this thing. So I stop out here at the highs. You know, probably not at the best spot, but still, it went through the high. My thesis is no longer valid, and it's no longer holding. And it's, instead of coming down and paying me off, it's actually heading higher. And then what I want to do is go back to the volume profile chart and show you what I was seeing here. So look at all this volume here that was built up in this sideways action. This volume profile is telling me that a lot of shares change hands. And here, 480, 490, right below $5. Every time it would come up, it would get stuffed. Come up, get stuffed. Come up, get stuffed. You guys get the idea here. And then there was clear selling here. But I was telling Adam, who sits right in front of me, I said, Adam, this 490 is really big resistance. A lot of shares are changing hands here. And there's a big seller here, in addition to massive buyer that's been around all day. I said, if this thing at some point holds 490 and gets above it and holds there, instead of just these wicks that we see here, that means that the seller was overpowered, and now, holy shit, this thing could take off. So my thinking was, I got to stop out if it does that. And then you see all the volume has changed hands here. Every seller is out of the money. Every buyer is really giddy the second it gets above 5. So my thinking was, all right, I got to stop out. And then I even tried a cute long here. So I think in here is I tried a cute long on this pretest here, because I know that all the volume that traded here, now whoever's stuck short is begging for this thing to come down so they could break even. Whoever missed the long opportunity, they can't wait to get another chance to buy it. So there's bid under the market, and I'm just trying to buy here to join the trend. So this is a trash name. Unless it's a massive, what's the word I'm looking for here? So unless it's one of those small cap mania where everything is going up, it's just a matter of which small cap's going to take off next, then I'm really interested to trade these on the long side. Otherwise, I try to focus on trading these to the short side, because they're just so dilutive and so trashy and so toxic. I don't usually trade these on the long side. But regardless, I bought a dip here to $5. And that's, this execution here. I didn't go big, just something. And then you could see based on my sells here that, I'm uncomfortable being long this, because I'm not really giving this a chance to pull back, make a lower high to see if it wants to, pull back, make a higher low, and then a higher high. I'm not really giving it that chance to see if it wants to develop into a bigger trend. I'm really just like scaling out here of my long pretty aggressively, as opposed to other symbols, or when I'm on the short side, I don't scale out as aggressively. Most I'll take off is half. And then I had just a tiny piece left, and I sold that last piece here, and I was done with it. But it was, it's a nice long trade. At least I wasn't averaging up and going add and shorting every top tick here. And then eventually it got stuffed here. Let's go back to the other chart. It got stuffed here at the highs. So we broke out there. You guys could see that. It got stuffed here at the highs, and it couldn't make this higher high. You guys could see every time it made a higher high, it just kept going. Same here. Breaks out, keeps going. Over here, breaks out. Right here, breaks out. It can't keep going. It's just getting stuck here. So together with that, I'm looking at the bigger time frame. What do I see here? Well, I see a nice topping tail on 5 minute on volume. That's an anomaly. You see a dot there. Looking at the 15. Where's my 15? Right there. Also really big volume, small candles. That means a lot of shares are changing hands here, right? So going back to this, it's starting to get stuffy here. It's starting to run into resistance. At that point, I am waiting to see if I want to get short. Now, I got to say, at this point, I am not, my conviction is not high in this anymore, because it's just shredded so many shorts, and it's hurt so many shorts today. I don't know if this thing's going to squeeze till 4 o'clock and never let them off the hook, or if, all the shorts cover here and they capitulate, and now it could just, dump all the way back. I don't know. So my short conviction is not as high. So I'm not doing as much here. As you guys could see, I'm flat. And then finally, it does one of these pullback, bounce, very weak, and then starts to go again. And that's where I get in on a break, lowercase h pattern. Again, nothing huge. And because my conviction is not that high, I'm not really giving this much space. I cover some here, I cover some here, I cover some here, and I'm flat. And actually, I overcovered here. I ended up selling it right away. So I'm done. I'm flat with this. And, you know, I could have shorted this bounce. I remember Adam asking me, did you short that pop into resistance, into this area, into $6? And I said, no, I just don't know if there's going to be enough time for this thing to play out before the close. And I'm not so sure this is a swing short yet. So I kind of stayed away from it for the rest of the day. So hopefully this was helpful. You know, when I see this thing ripping up and shredding like this is, it's really not an easy short. And the days that I trade well, I'm able to sidestep these big moves and not try to get in front of them. Wait for something like this that could either be the top or a sideways move, right? So just because some sellers stepped in here and we have equilibrium and you know, the buyers are no longer in control for whatever 1 hour or two here, it doesn't mean that it's done going up. It just means that it's paused. At this point, the sellers could regain control and bring it lower, or the buyers are just temporarily being matched with the sellers, and it's just, you know, a matter of time until those sellers get exhausted and the buyer is still in control. It starts going again, and that's what we saw here today. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, if you guys like this type of video where I go through it bar by bar, you know, give us the feedback and keep us posted on what you guys feel is helpful, and we'll try to do more of it. Thanks for watching. Mike Katz with 7 Points Capital.